who's looking out of the eyes is this moment, and that's true love. You can only love someone here. In time, you love something that's endlessly changing. And that's what most people do. They have this contraction, this feeling of who they are, and that feeling always comes with a seeking energy, like a feeling of incomplete, a solidness, like this incompletion. Because solidness means limitation, and that's not your essence. So that's why it always feels incomplete and like it's seeking. And that seeking energy is always trying to get a feeling from your partner, trying to get something, an experience from your partner. And this is where hate begins. You go into conflict because you believe your partner can give you love, but love can only come from this moment. But that solidness feels uncomfortable and looks for love in the other person, and then it becomes like a lot of conflict because they can't give it to you and you can't give them love. So on the absolute level, you have to really see that there is no relationship, that who you're always speaking to is yourself. Who's speaking is the same as who's looking, as who's hearing. So when you speak to them, you're not actually speaking to a solid entity, it's that infinite space that's listening. And when they speak, it's that infinite space that's speaking, and that's love. And that's the only place you can love someone. Emotions change. So if they give you feelings of excitement and you enjoy that excitement, that's going to change into anger and annoyance another moment, and to sadness and to joy, pity. It's going to turn into all these things. But deeper than that, there is this love, this expandedness. And so to me, to be in true relationship is to be in no relationship. So to truly love your partner is to be in no relationship. Now, gurus, Pabian gurus, will try and teach you that there is no relationship, therefore you can do all these things to each other and you don't have to do this and you don't have to do that. But then on the human level, there is an apparent relationship which can have contract, which can have roles. So on the human level, these two bodies need to get on. They need to have a similar outlook on life, obviously. They need to agree on certain things. And there needs to be fundamentally, on the human level, trust. I think this is huge when in relationship on the human level, that two bodies trust each other. It's the same with if you have an animal, like trusting your dog and your dog trusting you, or your child. So your ultimate love is this moment, is seeing beyond all of that. But then on the human level, trust is fundamental. Now, a lot of us are damaged by trust because we've given our trust away. So you've got different types of people. You've got people that are only focused and fixated on what they want, and they don't have empathy and conscientiousness. And to them, trust is irrelevant. This is irrelevant to those types of people. I will talk about those types of people because they don't mean to be excluded or talked as the bad people. But these people do have big possibility to do lots of bad things. You've got to recognize if you're only fixated on what you want and you're not concerned about other people's feelings or conscientiousness, like what's good for the group. But we'll talk about those in a moment. So if you have more empathy and conscientiousness, then you might have lost trust in humans because you've put too much trust in somebody where trust is irrelevant. So often these two types of people meet up. People that only are focused on what they want, and then people that have lots of empathy and conscientiousness. And the reason that these people like these people is because these people are easily manipulated. So if you've got a lot of empathy, you're easily manipulated because you'll feel sorry for other people. So you'll feel sorry for this one that's only fixated on what they want. So so a lot of people do have trust issues in our society. Because if you do have empathy and sensitive, which a lot of people that listen to these talks I'm sure are, then you have been talked out of what you feel, what you intuitively feel. When you intuitively feel something's wrong, you're talked out of it. When you intuitively feel you should help someone, you're talked out of it. Or you watch people being unfair or cruel to each other, and it hurts your heart and you don't understand what trust is. It is possible to intuitively meet someone and know you can trust them. I never used to know that you could trust, like have that feeling. Like if somebody's high in empathy and conscientiousness, they're very trustworthy, and you can have a feeling and you can feel when they're trustworthy. But when you've been traumatized, then you're in high stories and blame, and maybe it's impossible, but deep down you can feel it, and it's really beautiful to meet somebody that is. But there's also people out there that you really can't trust, and that's not because of past traumas or anything. And the way you know if somebody's not trustworthy is you focus in and see if they have empathy, and then you focus on and see if they're only ever focused on what they want and what they can get out of the situation. And these people aren't trustworthy. These people will do anything to get what they want, anything. And these people aren't bad people, but if they can, which they most likely can't, but to recognize that this is the way they are, and to try to be as honest in that as they can. And through that honesty, they can begin to be bringing balance in that type of personality structure. But that's very difficult because it doesn't benefit them to be honest often. So if they're only focused on what they want, it doesn't benefit them to be honest. But being honest is the best thing that those personality structures could do for themselves. And those personality structures, in a way, have to be taught about themselves, to understand themselves. So trust to me is a fundamental on the human level for relationships. I never used to value that much, partly because of being with gurus and teachers and teachings that dismissed it too much. If you do have trust issues and you are afraid of these types of things, or you've got all these types of dynamics that go on in relationships, so jealousy or fear or trust issues or fear of being abandoned, you have to get to know yourself. You have to get to know these conditions and where they come from and see it. And honesty is the best cure. So being honest with yourself and then being honest with the other, and not trying to use your honesty in order to manipulate others to get what you want. You see that really truly what you want is no inside or outside world, and in order to not have an inside or outside world, you have to be 100% yourself, which is totally and utterly honest. Notice that I said not using your honesty to order to manipulate. So just going into deep down your truth. Often we're using our words and we're using what we think and feel to manipulate the other to get what we want, to get safety. And this is where seeking comes in, like working out what seeking is, like to get safety, to like just being honest sometimes is about getting safety or getting the other to be honest, getting security, getting power. And there's an honesty deeper than all of that, where there's just this authentic being like a child. And it still has desires, so it still might want to get on and to be loved and to have intimacy. But these feelings are expansive, and they're not from a place of taking, they're from a place of giving. They're really genuine. I know it sounds confusing what I'm saying. I'm just trying to point to something really deep and beautiful here. But it might sound confusing, like you don't know how to do it.